Before the arrival of the Spanish, the Inca Empire in South America stood as one of the most sophisticated civilizations in the world. Spanning across present-day Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, and other countries, the Incas had an intricate governance system, advanced agricultural techniques, and a deeply spiritual worldview centered on nature and the divine. Their temples rose high in the Andes, and their rulers were seen as divine intermediaries. But in 1532, the Spanish came, with a cross in one hand and a sword in the other. Led by Francisco Pizarro, they captured and executed Atahualpa, the last true Inca ruler, and brought the mighty Inca Empire to its knees. The conquest was not merely an act of territorial expansion. It was framed as a holy mission. Backed by papal decrees such as the Doctrine of Discovery, the Spanish saw themselves as divine agents, charged with bringing the light of Christ to the heathens. The Doctrine of Discovery stated that Christian nations had the right to claim lands not ruled by Christians, and it gave Spain the moral and legal ground to subjugate and enslave non-Christians. But this was not the true gospel. Pope Alexander VI had issued a decree that literally divided the newly discovered lands outside of Europe, between Spain and Portugal, like slicing a cake no one else was invited to. Spain got everything west of a line in the Atlantic, while Portugal got the east, including Brazil. That line referred to the imaginary line drawn from the North Pole to the South Pole, west of Cape Verde Islands in the Atlantic Ocean. Religion played a very key role in the conquest and colonization of South America. Missionaries destroyed sacred temples and forced mass baptisms. Indigenous religious leaders were persecuted and their practices outlawed. The great temples were dismantled and their stones repurposed to build churches. The Catholic Inquisition tortured those who clung to ancestral beliefs, and under the encomienda system, native people were enslaved, all under the excuse of Christian duty. Suffering was repackaged as a pathway to paradise, while Spanish overlords extracted silver from the mines of Potosí, building wealth on the backs of the oppressed. By the late 1700s, the pain had reached its boiling point. Amid this turmoil rose José Gabriel Condorcanqui, known to history as Túpac Amaru II. He ignited and led a massive indigenous rebellion, declaring an end to Spanish rule. Educated in Spanish institutions and baptized a Catholic, he saw through the lies, and using a Bible, he argued that true Christianity meant liberation, not oppression. Did not Christ come to set the captives free, he asked? Then how can you chain men in his name? His message was clear. The oppression and forced labor imposed by the Spanish were against the very teachings of the Christ they purported to believe in. Túpac Amaru II exposed the hypocrisy of a gospel used for domination instead of liberation. For 2 years, his movement swept across the Andes, freeing towns and shaking Spanish power. But eventually, Spanish forces caught up with him and crushed the rebellion. In an act of brutal retribution, the Spanish forced him to watch the execution of his own family, then attempted to pull him apart while he was tied to horses. But when that failed, they beheaded him. However, his spirit lived on. His death became a spark for South America's independence movements. Figures like Simón Bolívar and José de San Martín would later fight for freedom on the same soil where Túpac Amaru II had shed his blood. Fast forward over 200 years, and another rebel would rise. Born in 1971, Tupac Amaru Shakur, the rapper, activist, and poet, carried that same name and spirit. His mother, Afeni Shakur, a member of the Black Panther Party, named him after the revolutionary leader to honor a legacy of resistance, strength, and defiance against oppression. The tragedy of Spanish colonialism in South America was not merely its violence. It was the perversion of faith into a tool of domination. The gospel was meant to bring good news to the poor, to set the captives free, and to proclaim liberty. Yet when wielded by an empire, it became an instrument of chains. The kingdom of God does not spread through swords, guns, and forced conversions, but through justice, dignity, and the free choice of all people to seek the truth for themselves. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into history, faith, and the lessons they bring for the present. Share this with someone who needs to hear the truth about the kingdom of God. Until next time, keep questioning, keep seeking.